Okay, all right, welcome everyone. I'm Meg Benedicte, and I'm the owner of the Quantum Healing Center here in Mount Shasta. And I moved up here to Mount Shasta about 2 years ago from Los Angeles. I born and raised in Los Angeles, and I was building a healing practice there. And I was invited up here in 2012 for the May total eclipse, if anyone was here and was able to experience that. It was amazing. And they did this big Mayan 3-day event at the resort, and it was just this whole big 2012 brouhaha. And I came up here to guide the group into meditation into the Great Central Sun. And I'd never been here before, and it was so profound to be in this space. So if this is your first time here, I know how exciting it is. We are in not only a sacred space, we're in the vortex. This mountain has a very powerful vortex. I don't know if you saw the actual cloud ships this morning over the mountain, but we had a lot of visitors this morning. So I was coming out of Los Angeles, and I mean, it was just such a shock, such a difference, such a beautiful, pure space that once I got home, it was very clear my soul was still here and my life there was dead. And it was like, you're moving. So it wasn't even planned. Packed up and moved up here. And I found how profound it is to be in such a sacred space. This is the root chakra of the fifth dimensional crystal grid. And so this is where everything's getting grounded and anchored of this new earth that we hear about, this fifth dimensional earth. So it's part of my soul's work to work in the grids, work in the anchoring of the new Lemurian civilization that's actually opening up and activating again. It's the return of the goddess, feminine energy to balance with the masculine and bring all of us into unity consciousness. So while you're here, just open to the power of this vortex. It's working to balance us. It's working to bring us into more union. It's working to bring us into more coherence between our heart and our mind and our soul and our human self. So it's a unifier. And I found in being here for 2 years, it also spins up all your stuff. So it's time to deal with what's coming up that is out of balance and needed attention and needed healing and needed clearing. So I am very drawn to vortex energy. I started working with it almost 20 years ago. It was guided just in communication with my higher self, and it was basically draw a circle with 12 points and step into it and start spinning. And they said, you may want to bring a chair in there because you're going to be spinning in this all the time. And I didn't know what that meant. I had no understanding of vortex energy at all. But through trial and error, getting into it every day and just working, and it's an anti-clockwise spin. And this has taught me so much because we are living on a planet that's actually spinning anti-clockwise. Our sun is spinning anti-clockwise, our great central sun. So there's this natural rhythm that we have gotten out of by living in a geomagnetic field that is a clockwise gravitational compression of time and matter. So when we actually spin anti-clockwise, this is actually an expanding vortex, and it unlocks the gravitational field. So we can actually get in and start clearing out all the stuck energy and the blockages and the emotional pain and even the distorted genetic code. There's nothing you can't get in and start working on. You can really begin to overhaul your own energy body. And one of the things that I noticed when I first started offering this with clients almost 20 years ago is when I would set the intention to connect to the client's soul presence, I always got pulled out of their body up into their aura. We were not getting our souls into our bodies. And it's like the old system, the old paradigm, we would have to actually die to connect to our soul. And I'm like, this is not right. This is not how it's supposed to be. We are aging and decaying and dying from being disconnected from that manna, that nutrition, that nourishment of our soul's life force. So I was guided through trial and error of working with my higher self and my team, my spirit team, to start to use the vortex in a way to bring the soul back in. And this anti-clockwise vortex was the tool, was the technique. It opened up the chakra pillar. The chakra pillar of ours is our energy body. This is where the soul wants to get in. And when it starts to come in, you can feel it. It's light. It's electrical current. You will feel it tingle. It is true soul presence. It is real. It's tangible. It's not this esoteric thing. You can actually feel the presence of your soul light. And we have to get in and, in a sense, clean, kind of, I call it internal house cleaning. We got to get in and clean the chakra pillar so the soul can actually get in. So we have actually 12 chakras. We have the 7 physical chakras, and we have 5 astral chakras. So the entire channel goes up to the higher self. And each one has a connection to one of the dimensions. Most of us are living in these lower 3-dimensional chakras. These are the human chakras. And they're dealt with the root, which is survival, fear, survival. Sacrum, which is shame and guilt. The solar plexus is our power center, so it's all around the misuse of power or the egoic control. And so as we work these open and we clean out this energy that is, I call it energy sludge, because it literally looks kind of like dark tar. It's density, it's low vibration, it's toxic, and it's not healthy. We want to clean this out of our system. And so when I think of what I have experienced of what's the ascension process, this is a word that is bandied all about, and there's a lot written about it, and a lot of it is kind of fluffy and fantasy, and a lot of it's not grounded. What I found is the ascension process is something that we have to consciously choose to accelerate our personal evolution. And how do we do that? Well, we can meditate, we can work on increasing our frequencies, we can eat live foods, there's things we can do. But what's so amazing about working with vortex energy, when you open this up around your body and your aura, you have just taken it to the quantum level. You are really accelerating your evolution. And this is then how we have this knowledge that's being, in a sense, brought to us from the ancient past and the ancient mystery schools and the galactic family to accelerate our ascension now, where we can merge the soul with the human. We can merge the left brain and right brain. The left brain is connected to the physical body and the 3 dimensions of the physical world. The right brain is dormant for most people. The right brain is our intuitive brain. It's what we use to visualize. It's connected to all the dimensions, and it's connected to this energy body of ours, this chakra pillar. So when we start to get both of them up and running, we get the light of the soul in both left and right brain. We start to recode our consciousness. We start to recode our DNA. We start to create this vehicle, this vessel, and the soul can come in and merge with us. So to me, that is the ascension process that's happening on the planet right now. And what an opportunity. We'll never see this again. It's like I just dove into it. I was like, let's do it, let's make it happen, because the more that we are integrating the soul light in with the human self, into the cells, you are carbonizing the cells to become crystalline. We're starting to open up this chakra pillar where it actually fractally extends into the star tetrahedron Merkaba. This is where we're literally evolving without having to die and reincarnate. And we are converting our physicality to light. So that's a lot to bite off. That's a lot to dive into. And so you can have physical symptoms as you're bringing in that higher light consciousness and you're cleaning out your sludge. And so there's lots of practical steps to help us get through this process with as much ease and comfort and grace as we can, so that every day you feel more and more of your divinity alive in you. I found as the soul comes in, it brings in more authentic confidence and knowing and courage and conviction and drive. It's very driven. It wants to change this world. And this is what is the true passion that comes alive in all of us. But it has to come from actually our own authentic soul presence inside. A lot of times people ask me, well, I want to know what my soul purpose is. And I'm like, how are you going to know what your purpose is until you get your soul in? You got to be with your own divinity. You've got to tune in, be with it, sit with it, listen to, watch what it wants to work on, watch what it wants to focus on. And so that's, to me, the key of all ill health and unhappiness is that we've been disconnected from this divine presence. So what I would like to do today is walk through the steps that I teach in working with the vortex energy, and it will help you build this channel up to your divine self, up to your higher self, up to your soul presence, and learn to bring it back down and in. One of the things we have to do is begin to neutralize the polarity that we've all been living in. So this planetary field has got a north and south pole, and it's got this electromagnetic field of opposites, and their opposites attract, and so you've got this push-pull polarity that is, it stops us cold dead. Every positive action we take forward, it slams us back with the negative reactions. This is where everyone has felt very stuck with that polarized energy. Also holds all of that emotional energy stuck in your cells too. So what we do is we work with the vortex energy, we work with sacred geometry, work with the infinity figure 8 to start to neutralize that push-pull of the polarity inside our own body. And that was then you're creating what we call a neutral still point. And it's like, if you can imagine the figure 8, the center of it, that fulcrum point, that's zero gravity, that's a still point. And when we are able to hold that longer and longer periods of time in our heart and our mind, hold that neutral still point, it actually takes you beyond the presence of the ego. It takes you into the now. It takes you out of time. It takes you out of the past or the present, future. It takes you into the now. And that's an egoless state. And that's where we can make the most progress, because the ego resists the ascension. The ego fights it. It does not want it. It wants to maintain control of the life. It does not want that soul coming in and telling it what to do. And so the ego will fight. So as we learn to work with these amazing ancient tools of sacred geometry, we're able to maintain that still point for longer and longer periods through the day. And it's almost like you're in this walking kind of Zen meditation, because you no longer have the ego just chatting away and being all negative and, disturbing your peace. You're in more of this flow, and that's what we call the quantum flow. Because when you're in that still point of the now, it opens up the entire quantum field to you of all possibilities, of all parallel realities and holograms. Everything is available to you. It's when we go into time, past or future, that we lose our access to the quantum field. So this is in a way our e-ticket to the quantum field. And it's been profound how it has helped me alter my entire reality and start to heal even my own physical problems as well. So I think before we go in and do that demonstration, I want to answer any questions that anyone has around either the ascension or the vortex process, and then we'll jump in.
Can you explain the quantum field?
Yes, so the quantum field is both the particle field and the virtual particle field. So it's the field of physical matter, and then it's the field of all what we call potential or unmanifested energy, and it's in its purest form, and it's in its infinite form. And when we are locked into just the 3 dimensions of the physical particle field, we lose access to the virtual particle field. That's the field of spirit. That's the field of our soul. And so we would have to actually die to go return into that field. So what we're doing is we're working with, this is ancient mystery school technology to be able to open up to both your physical life, your physical human self, and your divine virtual self or soul self. And you're able to start to connect to the future, which is, to me, it's like Grand Central Station. All possibilities, all timelines, all creation. There's more on this path than you can even do in a lifetime. And so it gives you this new, really expanded perspective. And so as life brings in certain, bumps and obstacles, instead of having that take you down, you go, okay, I'm just going to go to the quantum field and find another option, find another solution. And it's amazing to live that way. So there's nothing out of your reach. There's always more solutions. There's always more options. And what happens is this left brain gets overtaken by the ego, which only can trust what it sees in the physical world. So it blocks the right brain, which is open to the whole quantum field. So this is why we want to get both working and actually working together as one mind.
I have an example of something that just happened with me where I was upset about something and my head, I was just going over and over and over again. I was getting so tense. So I was like, I meditated and I went to go to this point. Yeah. And I watched the situation expand. I get chills, and I got a higher perspective on the situation, and what was eating me up was just dissipated.
And that's the ego consciousness. So when you go back into the still point and open to the virtual field of all possibilities, it disappears. It's silent. Yeah. And then there's no more blockage, and you can start to shift into another parallel option or solution. I use this chakra channel daily, and it's like my lifeline up to my soul and to this virtual field. And so when there's and it's a new way of manifesting. You're no longer using the thinking mind anymore. When you get into the fifth dimension and beyond, you're using your magnetic field, your feeling field. So it's not through the left brain. It's not through the thinking mind. So what happens is you. Let's say you have a project or a goal, or let's say you need a new car or a new home. What I do is I spiral up to all possibilities. You go into the quantum field, and I'll walk you through the steps to do that. I lock on the energy of that perfect solution. I don't even need to know the details. I just grab onto the energy with my intention, with my command. And then I start using the vortex, and I bring all that energy back inside, and I hold it. And it gets into the magnetic field. And that's when things start to get pulled in. You don't have to go out and effort anymore, because you're actually becoming this magnetic field of that solution, of that energy. It's really an interesting way to live. Yeah, it is the feminine energy. And you can also work with your path, where you have all the perfect outcomes already in front of you. And so I use the vortex and I pull them in. And that was then, hold them, gets into the magnetic field. So you start to actually materialize it. So it's just a new way of learning how to work with your energy field, really. It's just a more advanced way of working with your chakra pillar and working with your energy field. Any other questions?
Yes. I have a tendency to leave my body, and I'm working with some ways of bringing myself back.
That's what I saw. Everybody was out of their body. Yeah, this is what I was like, what the heck? I was even out of my body. I think when I first had my first massage, and it was my 30s, I didn't even feel the entire massage. I wasn't even there. So, okay, so what part of working with this energy field, because you're the master of your energy field, so it's kind of like you got to get in and own it. And so every morning I get my feet chakras. They work like magnets. You just lock your feet onto the crystal grid of this new earth. When I talked about a conscious choice, we have to choose. There are two worlds here. There's this lower, darker 3D world that's fallen apart. And then there's this new 5D Lemurian world, this beautiful world of unity consciousness. So every morning I choose to ground my feet onto the crystal grid of the new world. I think part of why we couldn't hold in the body was just so uncomfortable in grounding into that old lower 3D earth. It just made me ill, actually. So I would start there. What you're doing is you're showing your human self, you're making some adjustments so that you're creating an environment that it will be safe in, it will feel protected, it will feel loved, it will feel taken care of, supported. Then you start to get more in. That's the first thing. So you ground onto the new world. The second thing is in this fourth dimension astral plane. So we have the three dimensions of the physical. Then we have around us in our aura this fourth dimension of the astral plane, and this is where the emotional body and the mental body exist. So it's all just right around here. For the most part, it's wide open to the astral plane everywhere. Mine was wide open. I didn't have any boundaries. I had no containment. So I had to learn to set up a container of light. And it looks like a 12-sided dodecahedron crystal orb all around the outer boundary. And so I began every morning using, again, right brain intention, and I set up my orb. You ground it with your feet onto the crystal grid. That way then, what you're doing is you're establishing your own personal space, sovereign space, and boundaries. And I found by doing this for a while, people actually would say, oh man, I kind of bang into this space around you. Like they could actually feel it. And I'm thinking, well, good. And you should not be trying to get past it. So here again is new ways of working with energy, right? Not being parasitic and trying to get into each other's field. So psychic spying, all this parrot vampire stuff, this has all got to stop. So when we set up our containment, it goes both ways, I had to not go out and try to take from others as well, okay? It goes both ways. I had to learn to discipline myself to turn in and turn to my own divine light coming in, not try to take energy from others. Yes?
Can we do it for our animals, or do they already know how to do it?
No, the animals follow the owner. So yeah, you would want to just use the pictograph visualization. The animals all communicate with the imagery. So just show. So you're going to put in your orb, and then you show your animal. Put in.
You have to be able to visualize that.
Just all you have to just do is visualize this. Because the right brain is the alchemizing brain. The right brain is what is creating in this quantum field. And if you hear anyone telling you, oh, that's just woo, that doesn't work, those are people who are locked in their left brain. They have not gotten in and worked with the power of this right brain. It is phenomenal. Phenomenal. They're just showing where they're not open yet to their right brain power.
Are all the chakras just an illusion? Because when you shift them, they don't have the power to be controlling you. You have the mastery to shift anything you want.
Well, they're more of like a container for the soul presence. We are the master of it. They don't master us. Yeah, but now, if they're loaded with a lot of toxic emotion and pain and suffering and negative beliefs, then they're kind of mastering us. And that's why we need to get in there and start to transform it. And we just use the love and the light to transform that energy. And then you have a clean channel. Okay, so this is where I use Metatron's cube. So Metatron's cube is it's an outer 6 circles and an inner 6 circles and then a center 13th circle. This is the sacred geometry that activates the quantum vortex. This is a powerful template of creation. The Metatron's cube is even what's embedded in it is the 5 platonic solids. What's embedded in it is the star tetrahedron that creates the Merkaba. So we're working with some very ancient technology of working with Metatron's cube. I step on it, I ground my feet onto it in the center of it, and I get it rotating. As all 12 of those circles, they start to rise up as 12 pillars of light, and they begin to create the anti-clockwise spin. Okay, any questions on that?
Everything
Yes.
goes counterclockwise?
Everything's going to go counterclockwise.
You don't have opposite spin?
No, because we're moving away from duality, which is the dual spin, and we're moving into singularity, which is the single spin, and we're moving into the anti-gravitational spin, which is anti-clockwise.
Do we go up?
It's exactly what it does. It pushes you right up to your soul. Yes.
I've always worked with it as a counter-rotating field.
That's the time, fields of time. It's up to you if you want to do that, but that's the fields of time.
How far up is it? 4 feet?
It's at least 6 feet up to get up to your higher self. You get up to the top of the 12 chakras. So I would just kind of check on that, because the clockwise is gravitationally compressing tight, and the anti-clockwise is opening and expanding.
But the counterclockwise spin, well, I'll talk to you about it later.
Okay.
It's in a communicated it creates stillness in the center.
I just have to say how Metatron has taught me for the last 20 years, only spin singularity counterclockwise. Because we're trying to get back into the rhythm of creation. We've been trapped in the karmic cycle of the clockwise matrix of time here.
How did that happen?
It was designed that way by the invading races that control this planet. From the Orion group, the Draconians from the Orion group.
We let them think they control the planet.
Well, we're definitely taking it back now.